as those protests continue, taking that final acceleration as majority of the youth just continue trickling in as the crowds continue building up in Kitengela. And of course, those protesters are still protesting and trying to ensure that they're pushing for that good governance in this country. Now from Kitengela, let's head to Mombasa. Tobias Chanji is there for us. Chanji, it's good to see you. Talk to us about what's happening in Mombasa.
Well, a very good afternoon, Ashil. We are on Kenyatta Avenue. This is the Moi Nairobi Road, which for around 2 hours it has remained closed as it was running battles, running cat of mouse between youth and the police officers. Remember that this protest started at around 10:30 in the morning, and the youths were able to sneak through some of the roads despite that some were barricaded. They started it from Moi Avenue, later on going to Digo Road, then thereafter they came to Kenyatta Avenue. And just as you can see, that is smoke coming from some of the garbage that the protesters, rather youth, were able to have been spreading throughout the road, and also tear gas. And for now, what is happening is that police are going even inside houses where they are throwing these, or rather lobbing the tear gas canister to make sure that these protests does not continue. From the several youths that we were able to speak to, they say that the protests were peaceful, and it was only until when the police tried to disperse them by lobbing the tear gas is when they turned violent. What the police are doing currently is that they are engaging any people or anyone who are seen to be in small groups, therefore trying to break these groups and make sure that the youth do not assemble. But compared to other days, the protesters were not as many as we witnessed in the subsequent demonstrations. But according to the security officials, it was meant to pile up maybe towards the end of the day. Remember that the last time we also witnessed this protest is that the goons infiltrated it, and most people reported cases of robbery, violence, and even at one time we had some shooting. Remember that 5 people died from the previous demonstrations, 3 of course from gun wounds, and 1 from who suffocated because of tear gas canister. Those are police officers just making sure that they will follow some of the protesters inside, throughout, out of this road, the Kenyatta Avenue, to just make sure that they've dispersed these protesters. For now, Ashley, I think we'll have to come back to Nairobi as we check closely what will be happening after what we've witnessed for the last 3 hours. Back to in studio.
All right, thank you so much, Tobias Chanji, for that. That is the situation in Mombasa, as you've heard from Tobias Chanji there. Police engaging in running battles with the protesters. They're trying to disperse the protesters. And according to what Tobias Chanji has mentioned, the protests were peaceful, and that's what protesters are claiming, that the protests were peaceful before the police officers tried dispersing them. Remember, these protests are being witnessed not only in Mombasa, but we're seeing the same protest in Nairobi. Earlier on, we saw protests happening in Kakamega as well. This coming after a week of break and last wave of Gen Z-led demonstration, we saw that they resulted in President William Ruto yielding to several significant demands. And in the aftermath, he refrained from signing the contentious anti-tax bill. He dismissed his entire cabinet, and we equally saw the resignation of Inspector General of Police, that is Japhet Koome. But despite these concessions, the youth remain unsatisfied government continuing to press for deeper systemic change, of course. And they were saying that this protest was a continuation of the clarion call for reforms both in the political sector and within the government. The protesters, that is led by Gen Z, saying they want accountability. They want those that have been involved in corruption scandals brought to book and justice be served. They want, money that is spent carelessly to have better management from the government. As we spoke to our reporters earlier on here in Nairobi CBD, majority of the businesses remain closed. There's that wait and see approach from city residents, as many decided not to go to work today in fear of what might happen during these protests. Let's just listen in to what exactly is happening on the ground.